Is this for real?
This must be Lake Brescia? Well, I guess we fell from up there. And the lake turned to crystal? Help me out here. I mean, did the fal'cie do this? How in the world did we end up here?
How should I know?
We're alive. How?
Sarah! No one survives a fall from that high. Not without a miracle. Sarah saved us!
Sarah, listen. It's all your fault. She got...
Hey! Watch out!
What did I just do?
You used magic. You used the power of fal'cie. The fal'cie cursed us. We're fal'cie now.
Right.
Alright. The paradigm system has been unlocked. Now, I'm not going to do the tutorial, so let's just get into this. I'll give a better explanation about what the hell that actually means. But needless to say, our characters can use magic now, and can actually level up our characters. Although, it'll take a minute for us to be able to do that.
So we really are fal'cie.
Looks like it.
You too?
Yep. Right here.
Okay.
Let's see to the last.
Why me? I don't even know you. Will you have to go and attack that thing? Just leave me alone. It's your fault. It's your fault, You could have. All of this is your and Sarah's fault.
Watch it! Sorry.
Everything is gonna be all right. You'll see. Come on. Off we go.
See, huh?
Yep. We're all playing for Team Pulse now. Why me?
Alright, at the moment we... Okay. Lightning, Snow, and Vanille are our characters. Though I think we can change them out. No, I can't change the battle team yet. What the paradigm system does and our characters becoming fal'cie means is not just that they can use magic, but I have the ability to change up use the sort of classes of our characters in the middle of a fight. Now, it's kind of limited, my ability to do this, limited to the different paradigms that I set up. And right now, the only classes that are available are Commando and Ravager. Oh, and Sentinel, okay. And Medic, okay, you know what, they're all available. I'm a dumbass. But anyway, Commando is basically your damage-dealing class. But so is Ravager. Now, the way that those work together has to do with the has a lot to do with the sort of stagger system that we saw several episodes ago and during all the fights, where you build up a gauge and once it reaches 100%, you stagger the enemy. Now, the way Commando and Ravager work together is a Ravager is the damage-dealing class which builds up the gauge. But when you're not actively attacking an enemy, the gauge slowly drains down. Now, if only Ravagers were dealing the damage, that gauge would, like between attacks, would fall so fast it would probably drop to 0 before the Ravager got off the next attack. So it's very difficult to build a stagger gauge with nothing but Ravagers. You stick a Commando in there, though, and a Commando prevents the gauge from dropping so quickly back down to 0. It'll still drop, but a lot slower. The problem with the Commando, though, is a Commando can't effectively build a gauge because their attacks have very little benefit. You increase it by like 5% or something like that, as opposed to a Ravager, which may be like 10, 15, 20% or whatever. We'll see that play out in combat. We have subclasses. Medic, obvious, the healing class. And then you have Sentinel, which is sort of like a damage reduction, a tanking class. Snow, when he's in Sentinel status, will go and sort of try to absorb all the damage for the party, increase his own defense, increases the defense of the other party members, I think, and all that. Now, the paradigms come into play. You can actively switch between the different classes, but only limited to the different paradigms you have set up. So, we have 2 by default here. Relentless Assault, which is Commando and 2 Ravagers. Solidarity, a Commando, a Sentinel, and a Medic. That's sort of like you turtle up, you heal your party, while at the same time keeping a Commando active to prevent your stagger gauge from dropping too far. And we can create our own. Let's say Lightning is going to be a Ravager, Snow will be the Commando, and Vanille can be a Ravager as well. Or I could set it up where Ravager, Commando, and Medic to heal our party members, but do less of a build on the gauge. This one here isn't particularly useful, but I'll set it up anyway, just in case. Commando, Commando, Ravager. That one doesn't really... Well, that one's not too bad, although Ravagers mostly rely on magic, and Snow's magic is kind of piss poor. So he's a better Commando than he is a Ravager. The only 2 classes that Snow really do well are Commando and Sentinel. Sentinel, it's only really useful in boss fights, I think. So he's really only going to be useful as a Commando, but I'll set this paradigm anyway. Now I have 3 Relentless Assaults, but... wait, this one's already set up. What am I doing? Aggression. Alright. I have 2 Relentless Assaults, but they have different Commandos. Now, just because both Snow and Lightning have the Commando stat doesn't mean that they're both equally effective at it. At the moment, they both have 55 strength, but she has better magic and he has higher HP, which means they're both good in the Commando stat. But Lightning's better as a Ravager, so even though she's better as a Commando than as a Ravager, it's still a better team to have Snow be the Commando, at least at this point in the game. So I'm gonna swap this up so the default is Snow is the default is Snow is the Commando. We also have unlocked the Crystarium. Let's see where is that? Oh, you get to see their abilities. Oh, you know what? He actually has more abilities as a Ravager than she does. Frost Strike, Blizzard, where she only has Thunder. But, well, whatever. She still has a higher magic stat. I didn't get any new equipment, so screw this. Oh, is the Crystarium unlocked? Would have thought it would have been by now. To move on. Now let's see this in battle. Oh, there might be a treasure chest back here. I'm gonna go back and look. Maybe. I doubt it. This is just the field that that cutscene took place on.
Trust the soldier to keep her cool through this mess.
Okay, if we don't know our focus, how do we complete it?
I think I saw it.
Saw what?
That is how a focus comes down, people. The fal'cie, they don't spell it out with clear-cut instructions. All you get is a hazy glimpse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, that's what they say. You know, legends and all. Legends. Yeah.
Did you see anything?
It's all kind of foggy, but I saw this big, towering.
What? Wait a minute. Hold on now. Do we all have the same dream?
Ragnarok.
So, we all saw the same dream. We all heard that same voice.
You mean that was our focus? But how are we supposed to know what to do from that?
That's the tricky part. The dream's the only hint the fal'cie gives us. Figuring out what to do with it, that's our job.
Okay. We're fal'cie, right? Enemy's a cocoon. So, does that mean that our focus is... Are we supposed to...
Save her.
Say what?
Our focus is to protect Cocoon.
Really? Okay. And why's that?
Sarah told us. Let's do it. We're all in this together. I'm gonna look for Sarah. She ought to be nearby.
I'll come too! Wait!
Jeez. Yeah, that boy can't stay still.
Really?
Okay. Skip that tutorial. Okay, the Crystarium is unlocked now. I thought it was a minute ago. This is actually how we level up as characters. We gain crystal points, or I forget what they're called in this game, but I'm going to call them crystal points. Now, between your different roles that you play in the paradigm system, you can level up different parts of it. Now, for the most part, even though she's a Ravager right now, she plays more as a commando through a majority of the game. So I'm going to put the first couple of points into commando. Although it doesn't matter which you get as long as it's not an ability, your base stats increase regardless of which role you put your points into. Now, much like the sphere grid in Final Fantasy X, you have points that you put into advancing your character across the pathway. The difference between this and 10 is there really isn't much in the way of a kind of branching pattern. For the most part, as you advance, you fill up every single area. The only choices you really get to make are deciding which role to put your points into. So, boom, strength plus 4. As a Ravager, I can get HP plus 15. How many points do I need? I need 60 to get there. I only have 41, so I'm not going to bother. I need 60 to get there, 60 to get there, so I'm not going to bother with this. Snow's got 101 points also. Commando, Ravager, and Sentinel. He's going to be a Commando most of the time. HP plus 70. Damn, bro. Strength plus 18. this is where you start out with. Now, as the game progresses, you advance up levels, and the higher level you get, the more crystal points are required in order to advance to the next game. So that kind of encourages you to spread your points around. Like, do all of level 1 with Commando, Ravager, and Sentinel before moving on to level 2. Unless level 2 has something that you really want. There is a little bit of choice. But I'm gonna go this. Let's get that strength bonus. Okay, it only costs 40 points for him, so I'm gonna be able to get both of these. You know what? I think I actually filled up level 1 here already. Doesn't really have much. Probably because he's got 3 different roles to fulfill here. Reason why that one's not very full. Okay, Verviniel, Ravager, and Medic. She is useful as a medic, but she's not the best medic. So, let's see what she's got there. HP plus 30. Costs 70 points for her. Shit. Her gains are going to be slow. I'm not really interested in strength, but I want to get to this. So I'm going to get that. And that's all I can get. I also have, even though I can't choose these characters, I do have points I can get for them. He's nothing but a Ravager. 75. A synergist is a role that sort of buffs your character. Buffs your characters. So. 80. Damn, kid. Okay.
Find a way out of here.
Get into a fight. Here's some enemies. Okay, we have our default. Here are the different roles that we can fulfill. Alright, that one's staggered. Of course, these enemies are still early in the game, so they're not difficult to defeat. In fact, they're pretty much the same enemies that we were fighting earlier. And we have 3 characters instead of... Okay, there's a paradigm shift. So basically the same paradigm.
Just too easy.
But switching between these paradigms at the proper moments are basically where a majority of the strategy in the fights actually ends up coming from. So you're not going to be... You can choose the different attacks if you really want. Like I always could during the fights, and I have at certain times. For the most part, you're going to leave it up to the auto battle, and you're going to be selectively choosing which paradigms to go into the fight with, which paradigms to switch between during the fight, and all that kind of stuff. And that's where the strategy of the fighting really comes from. And if you do that wrong, your characters will probably end up dying. The auto battle is not good enough to be able to, with any one paradigm, be able to get all the way through the game. And your stat growth is rather limited until rather late in the game. Actually, like, your characters can only get so strong until the end of the game actually comes, and another Crystarium stage unlocks. So, for the most part, our character is going to be rather gimped, and you're going to have to intervene in the gameplay during the battles in order to ensure victory. So, there's that, and that's where all of that... A lot of people say, like, well, that's not really deep enough. And it is actually kind of a shallow way of having a combat system. But it does have its own depth in its own way. It's not as complicated as the old school Final Fantasy games. By that, I mean, like... I'd hate to throw 7, 8, and 9 into the mix. But even 10. It's not as deep as that kind of stuff. The way of actually playing it. But the way the characters moved and the way that their magic works and all that kind of stuff, they had to do something. And they wanted to change the thing up a bit so it was fresh for a new generation and all that. And this is how they had to do it, and how they chose to do it. Some people like it, some people don't like it. I'm somewhere in the middle of the road there. I don't think it's too bad of a system, although I probably would have preferred a more of an old school method.